everyone. So for today's video, we're going to discuss something about the general equation of the ellipse. Okay? So, just like circles and parabolas, we get the general equation of the ellipse by expanding the standard form of the equation. Okay? So let us just have the examples on the previous video, to which we have here x minus 4 square over 10 square plus y plus 3 square over 8 square equals 1. And what we're going to do is just first to simplify the denominator, that's 10 square and 8 square. So we will write down there as 164 respectively. So we would have x minus 4 square over 100 plus y plus 3 square over 64 equals 1. And then after that is that you are going to multiply both sides of the equation by the LCD. So what would be the LCD of 164? So for us to get the LCD, we list down the denominators, that's 164, and then we factor them out. So this is actually 25 times 4, and this is actually 4 times 16. Alright, since wala na namang magkakapareho kay 4 times 4, which is 16, tsaka kay 5 times 5 na 25. Kaya, we'll let them 25 and 16 na lang. And by considering this would be the factors of its LCD. So that would be 25 times 4 times 16, which will give us 1,600. Meaning to say, we are to multiply both sides of the equation by 1,600. Okay, so we are to multiply by 1,600. So we have here 1,600 divided by 100, that is 16. So, ito po yung i-multiply natin kay x minus 4 squared. Then plus, so 1,600 divided by 64, that is actually what? That is actually 25. Yun po yung i-multiply natin kay y plus 3 square. And then we have 1,600 times 1, the 1,600. Okay? Ang una natin isi-simplify dito would be the square of the binomial. So we will have, that is 16 multiplied by the square of x minus 4, that is x squared minus 8x plus 16. Alright, so that's how simple how you can actually use the FOIL method if you want. Then we have plus 25 multiplied by the square of y plus 3, that is y squared plus 6y plus 9 equals 1,600. And then we multiply this to all terms on the parentheses. Okay, so we would have, that is 16x squared, and then we have here 16. Then we have here 16 times negative 8, that is negative what? That is negative 128x. And then we have here 16 times 16, that would be positive 256. And then we proceed with the other one. That would be positive 25 times y squared, that is positive 25y squared. Then we have positive 25 times 6, that is positive 150y. And then we have here positive 25 times positive 9, that would be positive 225 equals 1,600. And then we simplify what is to be simplified. So unahin natin si 16x squared, that would be 16x squared. And then followed by the y squared term, that would be positive 25 y squared. And then we have down here negative 128x. And then we have positive 150y. And then, pagsasama-samahin na po natin yung, or i-combine na natin yung like terms, that is actually positive 256, positive 225. Okay? Actually, dapat kasama sa 1,600, but we first transpose it to the other side of the equation, making this positive 256 plus 225 minus 164 16 dahil tinranspose natin siya sa kabilang side ng equation equals 0. And then, simplify na natin ito. So, we would have 16x squared plus 25y squared minus 128x plus 150y. And then, if we simplify this using our calculator, that is 256 plus 225 minus 1,600. That would gives us negative 190 equals 0. Hence, this would be the standard or the general form of the equation of the ellipse. So given this, we have here, or in general, we have ax squared plus by squared plus cx plus dy plus e equals 0, where the numerical coefficient of x squared is different from the numerical coefficient of y squared, as you can see here. So, si 16 ay iba kay 25. Because, kapag nagkapareho silang dalawa, then that would be the time na siya ay makakonsider natin na circle. Okay po? So, kailangan po, pag ellipse, magkaiba po yung numerical coefficients ni x squared at saka ni y squared. So, let us now apply the general equation of the ellipse. Suppose we have here 9x squared plus 4y squared equals 36. So, it's very simple. We have down there 9x squared plus 4y squared equals 36. So, what we're going to do is we are already given the general form of the equation of the ellipse. And for us to get the salient features of the ellipse, what we're going to do is to transform it into its standard form. Kung saan, ang gagawin natin is to make this 1. And for us to make that 1, we are to divide both sides by 36. So, making this equivalent to, so what is 9 divided by 36? Or 9x squared divided by 36, that is x squared over what? Over 4 plus 4y squared divided by 36. If we simplify that, that is y squared over 9 equals, so 36 divided by 36 is 1. Hence, we are given already the standard form of the equation of the ellipse, wherein, if we transform this into the square of a number, then that is actually what? X squared plus y squared, x squared plus over 2 square plus y square over 3 square equals 1. Wherein, yung ating a ay nakay y square kasi mas malaki yung denominator ng nakay y. So, ito po i-consider natin na a at ito po i-consider natin na b. Hence, if we are already given this, then we can have the salient features of our ellipse. So, the center would be at, so since there is no modification or there are no modifications on the x and y coordinate, then the center would be at the origin. And then, the vertex, wherein we all know that the vertices are a units away from our center. And since nakay-y siya, ang ating vertex or ang ating ellipse would be considered what? Vertical. Okay po, so vertical po yung ellipse natin. Kung vertical yung ellipse, ang gagalawin natin sa center kapag kinukuha si vertex ay yung ating y-coordinate. So, ang ating vertex would be at 0, positive and negative a. Hence, the coordinates of our vertices would be at 0, positive 3, and the other one would be at 0, negative 3. And then, the other one, we still have our co-vertices. And our co-vertices is, we all know that that is b units away from our center. So, kung ang vertex natin or vertices natin ay yung y-coordinate ni center yung ginalaw natin, then yung co-vertex natin ay yung x-coordinate naman. So, we'll be having positive or negative b, 0. Hence, our co-vertices would be at positive 2, 0, and then the other one would be at negative 2, 0. Okay? And lastly, is for us to get the focus. Alright? And we all know that the focus would be c units away from our center. At saan po siya nakadikit? Nakadikit po siya kay vertex. Since ang ginalaw natin kay vertex ay yung y-coordinate ni center, then ganun din po yung gagawin natin kay focus. So the coordinates of our focus would be at 0, positive and negative c. But then again, we are still not given the value of c. So how are we going to get the value of c? So we make the assumption b equals the square root of a square minus c square, wherein it is actually equivalent to b square equals a square minus c square. Kung saan, si c square hahanapin natin by subtracting a square with that of b square. So we have c square equals, ang ating a square ay 3 square, that is 9. And then yung b square natin, that is 2 square, that's 4. So we'll be having c square equals 5. And by extracting the roots of both sides, that will make the value of c equal to square root of 5. Okay, or approximately, this is equivalent to 2.24. Okay, so approximately lang po. So hence, the coordinates of our focus, or the coordinates of our foci would be at 0, positive 2.24. And then our second focus would be at 0, negative 2.24. And then, using all the coordinates of the necessary points on our ellipse, then we can actually graph the ellipse. Okay po? And we all know that the ellipse is oriented vertically. So, ang ating major axis would be vertical and our minor axis would be horizontal. Okay po? So, let us now proceed with our next example. Okay. So, this is much more complicated than the first one. So, we are given 25x squared plus 16y squared plus 350x minus 128y plus 1081 equals 0. So, ito po yung ating given. So, what we're going to do first is for us to group those with almost the same variable. Let's say, for example, si x at saka yung x. I-group natin siya and we what? We transpose the constant to the other side of the equation. So, making this equivalent to what? This is equivalent to our first group would be 25x squared plus 350x. And then our second group would be 16y squared minus 128y. 128y. And then we have equals negative 1081. And tulad ng ginagawa natin, just like a circle and kay parabola, we what? Before we complete this, the square of this group, we first what? We first factor them out, making x squared and y squared have the numerical coefficient of 1. So this would be what? So ito si 25 ay ilalagay natin sa labas. So we have here 25 multiplied by x squared and then plus. So what is 350 divided by 25? That is actually 14x. And then plus, we have here 16 multiplied by y squared minus. So what is 128 divided by 16? That is actually 8y equals negative 1081. And then after this, we what? After this, we now complete the square. So this would be 25 times x squared plus 14x. So para makomplete yung square, we divide positive 14 by 2 and then we square it. So that would be what? That would be 7. So 7 squared, that would be 49. So we have here 49 plus 16 times y squared minus 8y. So what we're going to do is to divide negative 8 by 2, that is negative 4, and then we square it, that becomes positive 16. So we add positive 16 here. And then equals negative 1,081. So, i-add natin is what? Ano ang i-add natin? Bago tayo mag-add nito, kailangan muna natin i-multiply siya kay 25. So, we have here positive 1,225. By using your calculator, you may use your calculator if you want. And then, before we add 16, we first multiply it by 16 dahil naka-enclose siya sa parenthesis. So, that is positive 256. And by this, we can now simplify. So we will have 25 times. So let us express this as the square of a binomial. This is actually what? X minus or x plus 7 square. So x plus 7 square plus 16 times. So let us represent it as the square of a binomial. So that would be y. So since minus ito, so we have minus 4 square. Okay, equals. So this will be negative 1,081. Negative 1,081 plus 1,225 plus 256. And that would actually be equivalent to 400. And then after that, kailangan maging 1 po itong side, isang side ng equation natin. At paano po natin gagawin yon? That is by what? That is by dividing all terms by 400. Okay? So if we simplify this, what is 25 over 400? So ang matitira na lang po sa numerator natin would be x plus 7 square over, so what is 25 over 400? That is actually 16 or 1 over 16. Okay? Plus, so kapag simplify natin ito, 16 over 400, that is what? That is y minus 4 square over what? Over 25 equals 1. Hence, our standard form of the equation of the ellipse would be y plus 7 square, or x plus 7 square over 16 plus y minus 4 square over 25 equals 1. Wherein our center is at what? Our center is at, since this is positive 7, ito yung h natin at ito yung k. Since this is positive 7, so that is actually the negative of negative 7. So the center is at negative 7, comma, this is positive 4. So our center is at negative 7, comma, 4. Okay? And then, since mas malaki po yung value ni 25 kaysa kay 16, hence ang atin pong a ay nakay y. So, ito po si a square at ito naman po si b square. Hence, the value of a would be equivalent to the square root of 25, that is 5. And the value of b, the square root of 16, that would be 4. Okay po? And for us to get the coordinates of the vertices, that is actually what? Since si 25 ay nakay y, then our ellipse would be vertical. So if vertical, ang gagalawin natin kay center would be its y coordinate or ck. So that would be h, k plus or minus a. Okay? So our vertices would be at h, the value of k, that would be negative 7, 4 plus or minus the value of a, which is 5. So vertex 1 would be at negative 7, 4 plus 5, that's 9. And vertex 2 would be at negative 7, 4 minus 5 is equal to negative 1. Okay po, so these are the coordinates of our vertices. And then, our co-vertices would be at, since ito, ginalaw natin si k, kay co-vertices si h naman po. So we have h plus or minus b, k. Hence, the vertex would be at 4, negative 7, sorry, negative 7 plus or minus the value of b, which is 4, comma, the value of k is 4. Okay? Sorry, it's not v, but it's b. Okay? It's b. So, the coordinate of our first co-vertex would be at negative 7 plus 4, that is negative 3, comma 4. And then, the other one would be at negative 7 minus 4, that's negative 11, comma 4. So, this is where our co-vertices are. And lastly, is for us to what? We are going to find the focus. And before we proceed with focus, we still need to get the value of C. Since we are given the values of A and B, then we have the assumption. B square or B equals the square root of a square minus c square. And then we have b square equals a square minus c square. Wherein for us to get the value of c, we have down here c square equals a square minus b square. And by plugging in the values to our formula, c square would be equivalent to the square of 5, that's 25, minus the square of 4, that is 16. So c square is equal to 9. And extracting the roots of both sides, that would be c is equal to 3. So the value of c would be 3. And we are now ready to get the value or get the coordinates of our foci. So the foci would be at what? So, susundin po natin yung modifications na ginawa natin kay vertex. So, ang gagalawin po natin ay yung k. So, would be having h, comma, k plus or minus c. So, our focus would be at, so si h ay negative 7, comma 4, negative 7, comma 4 plus or minus the value of c, which is 3. And then, we have the coordinates of the first focus at negative 7, comma 4 plus 3, that's 7. And then the second focus would be at negative 7, comma 4 minus 3, that would be 1. Hence, these are the coordinates of our focus. Since our ellipse is vertical, then the major axis is also vertical, and then the minor axis would be horizontal. And that's how we get the coordinates of the important points on the ellipse. And also, that's how we apply the knowledge of general equation of the ellipse.